It's more than a rumor. That's true. I've made a few steps between here at my office and the facilities building and the main building, sometimes 2 and 3 trips a day, but I don't mind it. Got it down pat. From my door to the north door of the main building is 508 paces of my pace. It takes about 8.5 minutes to do, regardless of the weather. So I know what exactly time to leave in order to be on time for a meeting, unless the elevator gets stuck or something.
You're listening to NDWorks, a podcast for the Notre Dame campus community, produced by the Office of Internal Communications. We're the team that brings you NDWorks Weekly, NDWorks Quarterly, The Week at ND, and a passion for sharing clear, concise, and interesting information with faculty and staff of the University of Notre Dame. I'm Natalie Davis Miller, Managing Editor of NDWorks, and I'm glad you're listening. Today, we're talking to Doug Marsh, Vice President for Facilities, Design and Operations, and University Architect. Thank you for joining us, Doug.
Oh, thank you, Natalie. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. I know there's a big event coming up at the end of the month, retirement. So how long have you been here?
Well, actually, on May 29th, it'll mark 30 years from my first day stepping foot on campus in an entry-level role in our fledgling facilities department back then.
You've moved up and your position has changed. So in the last few years, what does Vice President and University Architect, what does that entail?
Sure. I'm blessed to lead a team of over 500 individuals that really the central stewards of the campus. And so we oversee planning of the campus, design of new buildings, construction of them, renovations, reinvestment in our facilities, our utilities and maintenance teams, our landscape services teams, our building and building services custodial recycling teams, our data management group that track all of our facilities data and our metrics, and also our international facilities management team, a small but mighty group based in Rome and London.
So, Doug, I've had the opportunity to hear you speak a couple of times on campus about the history of Notre Dame. May 10th is the anniversary of when the foundation was laid for the rebuild of the main building after that great fire. I recall you saying, "It's always the roofers." I've heard you talk about Father Sorin and what he said, how he inspired others, how he wouldn't let the dream of Notre Dame die. If you could talk to Father Sorin now, what would you ask him about that time? What do you think his answer would be?
Wow, that's a great question. I would ask him a lot of things, but particularly what was going through his mind as he arrived on the scene. It'd been a couple of days since the fire, since he was in Montreal. It took a while to get a rider up there with the message and for him to come back. And you can only imagine what was on his mind, being told that there was this great fire and essentially the university was gone, this central building and an adjacent building as well. And then he finally gets there and he sees the scene. We've seen early photographs of that. There was not much left. And he walked among the ashes. What was in his thought? What was in his mind before he brought everybody into the basilica and then prayed? I think that answer would be really fascinating. I have a suspicion what he'd say is, I never had a doubt.
Yes.
I mean, Sorin was so bold. What a visionary. Didn't flinch. And this wasn't the only setback those early leaders and giants had in establishing the university. There was pestilence, there was disease, there were financial challenges to building the roots of what's turned out to be this incredible university and fulfilling the Sorin dream.
I love that story. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard something where he said he failed to dream bigger or something like that. Is that how it goes?
Yes. After the fire and he had prayed at the altar in the church, he turned to the people that had remained and had gathered there. And he took responsibility and he said merely that the Blessed Mother had taken the building down because he had dreamed too small. Because after all, it was going to be a university dedicated to her. It needed to be more thoughtful and it needed to be eventually capped with a golden dome, with a golden replica of her on top. And that's what he did.
That's awesome. So you've been here for a little bit, 30 years, right? And it seems that he probably made an impression on you. Who in modern times, living or deceased, influenced you or made an impression on you?
I probably share this with a lot of people, but I would call them our contemporary giants of leadership here at Notre Dame. Begins with the second founder. He's often called, of course, Father Ted. I had the great opportunity to get to know him a bit late in life, share with him the exciting development of new projects. He would like to go on golf cart rides, and I would tour him around, and I was looking for sort of his, acknowledgement that we did well. And he was always just incredibly generous and gracious. Then, of course, Father Monk Malloy, Father John, Father Bob. It's been a thrill of a career to have worked for 3 great presidents and known a 4th out of the 18 in total. But there's other incredible leaders that I have looked to be as mentors. John F. Graves and Shannon, working directly for these 2 just incredible leaders as executive vice presidents. And then at the board level, I've had the benefit of knowing so many, having worked with them since the 90s. People like Jay Flaherty and Joe O'Neill, who have chaired the committee that oversees facilities, that their leadership spans back to 2007. They've been great mentors, as has John Berge. John, notable American architect, class of 1956, has been really a trusted partner and an incredible gifted mentor, a generous mentor, particularly early on in my career, where he taught me what it was going to take to be a successful university architect at Notre Dame. And he was so extremely patient with me because I made a lot of mistakes. But I was given chances to get smarter and think more like Soren and the others. I would also like to mention that a contemporary of mine, Paul Kempf, our assistant VP for utilities and maintenance, and really a close friend and co-collaborator essentially since the late 90s, when we were given the keys to Notre Dame facilities when we probably didn't deserve them. But we were wet behind the ears, again, allowed to make a few mistakes, but together we've built, I think, a pretty incredible organization with incredibly gifted, talented, and committed people. And I love Paul like a brother.
Oh, that's nice. And even though you mentioned mistakes, we can see all the successes on this campus are all around us. Is there, during your career, is there anything that you've worked on where you go, wow, this is going to be a big project, or this is so cool, I get to do this?
I think from the outset, the first day on campus, I'm 35 years old, and I'm maybe living almost surreally in my dream job, and I get handed the opportunity to renovate Bond Hall, which was the School of Architecture's home when I was there, and to be able to go into that building. It was, at the time, a modest renovation, but it was big to me then. And then, of course, we continued to grow and scale, and projects got bigger, greater challenges. I think 3 others stick out for me. The DeBarlo Performing Arts Center, which is such a unique building, unique architecture. There's actually 5 different buildings that are all connected together because of acoustical and vibration sensitivities and separations. There was some really unique mechanical, electrical, and structural challenges that I learned a lot on how to solve. And we had a great team of folks working on that. And then, of course, the Crossroads projects, the project, bringing together this incredible vibrancy of student life and academic pursuits, these departments that wanted to be part of that project, and new campus meeting space, all surrounding this iconic football stadium. It was a once in a lifetime challenge. And I really look back. It was cool. It was yes. Really hard, but a lot of fun, and met a lot of great people. We had at peak 1,000 workers a day working feverishly on that project. It was a lot of fun. And the last one, I think, was the renovation expansion of the Morris Inn, and what it took 39 weeks to basically take down half of it, gut the rest, and then double it from there again. It was a dicey schedule, but in the end, with those great challenges, everybody came together and we got it done.
It's a beautiful building. It's really nice.
Well, thank you.
So, you talk about the stadium, and the campus is beautiful any season. But what's your favorite season on campus and why?
It's actually right now.
Really? Spring,
mid-spring, the month of May. And it's not just because its colors come back to the world in northern Indiana and our campus. And it is just so beautiful to see trees and the flowers budding out, the grass turn green. But the life on campus is really unique. You can see it on the students' faces. They have endured a tough and challenging year, but they're at the end. They're finishing their exams. They're gonna matriculate as seniors in commencement soon. Others will go home and recharge and go to internships around the world and do great things, and then they'll come back ready in the fall. But there's something really special about the spring, and particularly capstone by commencement. It's the most important day of any university's day or university's year, but particularly at Notre Dame. The joy is just so pervasive. I love to walk campus on Sunday commencement and see the love and the joy on the families' faces, not just the grads, but the parents and the grandmas and the grandpas and the siblings, knowing how hard their student worked to achieve this milestone moment in their lives. It's just beautiful to see that expression and that love permeate the place on that day. And then following that, the seniors move out the next day, and we have the campus to ourselves for 2 weeks. It's really quiet, as you know, around here. We miss the students in the summer, but for those couple of weeks, it's really good to kind of just walk among the place, have it to ourselves for a while. Of course, we're gearing up for construction season. That's going to happen right after reunion. So we're gearing up big time that way. But that's kind of one of my favorite parts of the year to do, those quiet 2 weeks.
Okay. I do know what you're talking about. It does feel a little different when the students aren't there, and then the summer school students, kind of come in. I understand you were a student here.
I was.
Okay. So what are
remarkably, surprisingly.
So what are some of the biggest changes you've seen on campus since you were a student?
I think the biggest change is how we have opened the campus edges to the world. Having grown up in South Bend, and even as a student, I recall it as a place where it was a little insular, and that there was a heavy green band around the edge. And I don't think it was intentional, but it was perceived that this is unique, stay there, kind of, we don't really want you here. I don't think it was intentional, but certainly the way it was designed and the way the roads laid suggested that. So the challenge to move streets, to move Angela, remove Juniper that cut through a third of the campus and isolated it on the east side, to normalize the street grid so that Eddy Street Commons could grow from there. And then we would reclaim hundreds and hundreds of acres that were stranded Notre Dame land to allow the campus to respectively grow. I think that's the biggest change. And then the chain reaction that's taken place in the residential neighborhoods, particularly south of campus. And it's kind of really resurrection of literally thousands of homes and blocks of city streets, and seeing a rebirth. That's the biggest change I think I see in the, 48 years since I arrived here as a freshman.
That's when you put it together like that, it's 48 years. So you said May 29th is your last day, and you'll be retired, but are you staying in the area? Will you be visiting campus? And when you come back, what's your favorite place?
Yeah, it's going to come quick here at the end of the month. Will indeed be it for me. But both my wife Pam and I are from South Bend. We have deep roots here. We love it here. It was been a great place to raise our family. Our two sons who graduated from Notre Dame. They're not here locally, but we'll spend a lot of time visiting with them over the course of the years to come. But I'm blessed to have my parents still here, 10 minutes away in an assisted living facility. Pam's mom in a similar facility, not far away either. So we'll spend more time with them and be really grateful of the precious time that we'll have with them. Kind of watch over them a little more closely. I will absolutely look forward to coming back to campus. We'll be walking our dog Daisy extensively, but I'll do it from a different lens and a different framework. Often on those walks now, I turn the leash over to Pam to hold the dog while I take photographs of things I don't like, and then I'm texting my folks on my team to look for this. Let's just kind of fix this. We got some weeds here, so it'll be hard not to do that anymore.
I was going to ask you, can you break that habit?
We'll find out. Okay. I do have everybody's cell phone still, but they may defriend me or disconnect me somehow.
If you're listening, here's your warning.
Yeah, here's your warning. And I wouldn't blame him if I did, but I will try to take a different mindset, a more relaxed mindset. And absolutely, what I hope retirement doesn't bring is a separation with my folks that people like Paul and others. I hope we'll remain friends for the rest of our lives, and we'll have to be intentional about it because they'll be very busy, and I'll be busy doing other things, hopefully. But we'll be intentional about it.
Well, you built more than buildings; you built relationships here, right?
Much more important, and while buildings have great, strong foundations, obviously the key to life is the relationships we share with each other, and through Notre Dame, they're unbreakable.
So I have some more questions, some fun questions.
Sure.
Rumor has it that you know the steps between different places, and I don't remember who told me that. So I want to know if that's true, and if you can give us some examples. And then I think I might walk a couple of places. You're a little taller than me, but I'm curious.
That's not. It's more than a rumor. That's true. I've made a few steps between here at my office in the facilities building and the main building. Sometimes 2 and 3 trips a day, but I don't mind it. Got it down pat. From my door to the north door of the main building is 508 paces of my pace. It takes about 8.5 minutes to do, regardless of the weather. So I know what exactly time to leave in order to be on time for a meeting, unless the elevator gets stuck or something. I usually do okay there, but there are some other distances. I think it's about 800 steps to the McKenna Hall front door. Takes about 12.5 minutes. And back in the day when we were doing Crossroads, I also had an office in the construction trailer town south of the project, and that was about 1,200 steps. And
wow.
I did that
so you
several
didn't take
times
a golf
a week.
Cart. You just walked that distance.
You won't see me drive to my destinations on campus with a golf cart. There's too many golf carts on campus. I'm a big critic of that. So that practice. So I try to not use those things. But I understand when they're necessary. But I love to walk campus. I think it's still highly walkable for those who are able, and I enjoy doing it.
It's a beautiful campus, so might as well enjoy it any season, really.
And you get to see what's going on, and you take pictures of the things you want to fix along the way.
We're not going to do that.
No, not anymore.
So where do you see campus going in the next 25 years? What's going to happen in 25 years?
Boy, that's a really, really good question. I think if we look back 25 years, would we have predicted where we're at today and the buildings and the facilities? And we might not have guessed quite all of them, or some of the functions. So it's a dicey effort to try to predict what the future is going to be. I would say there'll be a really good, strong emphasis on understanding how people learn and work differently in future years, particularly with the further advancement of technology and AI. And remote learning and remote work, will that have some dividends in terms of how we use space, especially office space? Do we all need permanent office homes, or could we take better advantage of the space that we're given? I think that will be an interesting challenge for us and all schools to really take on and study and learn. I expect that, over time, those who will be in my role will examine a handful of other buildings that have given us great service life, but maybe determine that they're end of it, and that will be a higher purpose for the ground they take up. I wouldn't want to make a venture as to what buildings those might be. I don't think there's anything imminent there, but over time as stewards, those are tough questions that we need to look at and examine. And I know those that come behind me will do that.
That's smart because we have you on record.
Exactly.
So I think I ran into you during maybe the president's Christmas reception, and I was going down and you may have been going up, and I just chatted a second with you about retirement, and I think you mentioned a book.
Yes, you have a great memory. There hasn't been a book published on the campus specifically since 1976. It's Professor Tom Schlereth's book. It's out of publication now, but widely read and widely regarded. It's a great synopsis of Notre Dame history through the lens of buildings and how people use them. We've been busy since 1976. And so I think there's a story to tell. I'm going to kind of wade into this slowly. There's no rush for it. I have a lot of reading to do, which I'm going to enjoy doing and preparing before I framework what I might want to say. But it'll be a book that would be designed to be appealing to everyone, whether they're first-time visitor to Notre Dame or a long-time member of the Notre Dame family, to be able to pick up and really celebrate this incredible place.
I have that book that you referenced on my desk right now. I was looking at it today for something else. So I'll be looking forward to the companion to this book from you.
Thank you.
We're kind of wrapping up. A couple of more questions. Can you tell us something about yourself that others probably don't know about you? I mean, I learned that you walk everywhere, so that's new to me. But what else is out there that people don't know?
Yeah, I'm pretty plain. There's not a lot of excitement there. But I'll just say that there's three nonprofits that I've been involved with in my career, and actually as a kid in one case, that have been really great opportunities. One is, as a young boy, my parents got me involved in scouting. And I eventually earned the rank of Eagle Scout. And going through that experience, having a long-term goal, getting merit badges and being guided along the way, but really driven yourself. There are only 3% of scouts become Eagles.
Oh, wow.
It was a huge achievement. My parents celebrated it with me. But I remember my life kind of changed. I was like 16 years old. And I was like, wow, I accomplished this long-time goal. And it boosted me. My sons did the same thing. And I saw that through them when they achieved their Eagle ranks. So I would say to listeners who may be struggling with kids with all the things that attract kids' attentions these days, think about scouting as an opportunity. The program's has had some challenges, but it's coming stronger and stronger every day, and it's open to girls as well as boys. And I think the program is as good as it's ever been. And I've served on the local board over the course of time and volunteered. Was a Cub Master years ago with my kids. I think that was hugely impactful for me. And more recently, having early in my career at Notre Dame, invited by Father Dick Warner, who is the chairman of the board of the South Bend Center for Homeless. Absolutely hallmark, key organization, still going strong today, founded really by Monk Malloy, knowing that Notre Dame could make a difference in the world in South Bend, particularly those who really needed. I was asked to go down there and help an early director, Lou Nani, and his sidekick, Shannon Cullinan, think about their facility and how it might be expanded. It was a blessing in my life. And occasionally, Steve Calamari, a great director that has succeeded those guys, Andrew Buscarino, later on, asked me to come down, and I'm more than happy to go down and give them some counsel and advice to see how that building can really continue to maximize its impact on people who are really in need. And then currently, I'm on the board at St. Margaret's House, which is such an incredible organization deep in the heart of downtown South Bend, serving the most sort of underserved part of our community, the most at threat, and that is women and children who, in many cases, have a huge array of challenges, especially housing. Many are homeless, giving them warmth, comfort, a meal, a shower, and love each day. The need's never been greater. I'm blessed to help them think about an expansion and renovation of that building at the moment. I can't think of a more deserving organization and a nonprofit for folks to think about. So we're going to go into a public phase on the fundraising for that project soon. But even day to day, our operational needs have never been greater. If people feel compelled and looking for a place to invest in their hard-earned charity gifts, think about St. Margaret's House. It's stmargaretshouse.org to learn more about it, a little bit of an advertisement. But they are living the gospel of Matthew 25 every day, all year round.
I love that. I know you're retiring, but it sounds like you're going to continue to build and be busy, right?
I hope so. I love giving back. I've been blessed in immeasurable ways. This kid that started out laying on the living room floor with his dad watching Notre Dame football games through the 1960s with the great coach Eric Barsegan, falling in love with Notre Dame and then having the opportunity to eventually apply and get here. These are small ways I can pay back the gifts I've been given.
That's beautiful. I think you may have answered my last question, which is how do you want to be remembered?
I don't really think of that kind of thing. I think if we're successful in transitioning my role, in 6 months, it's Doug who, because it's not about me. It never has been. It's really about the network of people and the folks who really do the hard work each and every day. And they have such a good spirit about it. Everybody on my team, I'd have to say that I know, come to Notre Dame because they love it. They could go other places, but this is such a special place, particularly the mission. I've said this in many occasions, and this is one way maybe to sort of wrap up my comments, and that is Notre Dame is much more than just bricks and mortar or slate and stone. It is about love. And it's about love of place, for sure, love of campus, but love of mission. It is love of each other, love of ourselves, love of our students. Notre Dame is about love.
I don't think I could add to that in any kind of way. Thank you so much, Doug, for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you, Natalie. It's, again, been a blessing to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.